Well, now we're going to shift gears, Matthew, to a new pro-life song from aborted baby's perspective. This song skyrocketed on iTunes to the charts, number 5. Her name is Rachel Holt. So, Mr. Engineer, let's play a portion of the song.
If my mama could have just seen my face, maybe she would have had me anyway. And there are those who speak for me, who fight for lives they can't see. And all I wanted was a chance to learn to love and laugh and dance. Oh, but I was gone before I arrived, sent back to heaven on a star lifeline.
The song goes on and on, talking from the mother's perspective, you know, if she could just see my face. And I think, Matthew, of ultrasound and the technology, we know that when a mother sees her baby with ultrasound, 8 out of 10 mamas keep their baby. So I think, Matthew, you're the entertainment guy, that you've been on bands. It seems to me this would be a great approach to reach people with a pro-life message. That, I mean, she's got obviously a really beautiful voice. She's 18 years old. And
Yeah, she's very, very mature singing voice for 18.
is that right, Matthew? I just,
Absolutely.
yeah, I just thought it was a lovely voice. So here's the point I'm making. This woman's reaching out, and again, she said, I just wanted people to hear the voice of the voiceless.
Mhm.
18 years old?
Yeah.
That inspires me. Because you know what, Matt? 18-year-olds normally don't think like that.
Right. But it's nice to see the fact that this song was written. Well, there's a couple of things. Number one, when I was a young man,
Yes?
I used to sit in my room and play the guitar and dream of being famous. And now the internet has come along, and there are young people sitting in the room playing a guitar, and they become famous
That's right.
because we've cut out the middleman. You can go directly from the artist right to the audience.
Yep.
And what that does in this case, it shows me not only do you have a young person who's concerned about these things, but that it resonates with millions of others. That's the thing. You talk about the voice of the voiceless. Not only
Yes.
are the unborn, of course, they're the ones who are the most voiceless, but how many women have had abortions and suffer with it? How many women have gotten pregnant under less than perfect circumstances and had the child,
Right.
and then and slogged along with all of the challenges that parenthood brings with it? And how many of them would say, boy, but I would never do it different.
Yeah.
Never in a million years. If I had it to do over again, I'd do the same thing.
Yep.
And that's also, I think it's something for them too, a reminder that, yeah, I did the right thing. And as you say, you understand abortion is it's objectively speaking, that's a horrific crime. I mean, of every kind of homicide, to kill someone who's utterly innocent, utterly defenseless, that's got to be, that's way at the top of the list of egregious
Sure.
crimes. But, again, so many women, their culpability is greatly lessened by the fact that the culture not only accepts it, but actually, pushes it,
Yep.
promotes it ruthlessly. Joe Biden, I've never been more ashamed of an American president or a fellow Catholic in my life
Amen.
than listening to Joe Biden talk about keeping, I'm going to, looking at the Supreme Court and essentially threatening to overturn the Supreme Court somehow and making abortion on demand is going to be the law of the land, he said. In a State of the Union address. Man, I never thought I'd live to see it.
Oh, it's horrendous.
But there is a pushback. The pendulum is going to swing back the other way.
Oh,
We've got a young generation that's coming up that's had a snootful.
Yep. Well,
And I'm glad to see that they're speaking up and responding.
So am I, Matt. And when I realized the song was first published on the day of the National Celebrate Life weekend that takes place a few days ahead of the anniversary of Roe versus Wade, following the short life of an unborn baby killed in its mother's womb. One of the lyrics that touched me, and I think that it would touch people, said the first thing I was going to do was breathe and fall in love with you.
Mm.
Oh my gosh. And then maybe it's just because I'm with my grandchildren right now.
Right.
Maybe that because that's exactly what they're doing. They love you. They hug. I mean, to think of the things that a little baby does. I mean, they're the most precious thing on the planet. And then,
Well, and that's been universally understood by human beings. It's only when societies become very decadent, it's only right before they fall
right.
that you see this attack on your own progeny.
Yes.
Right. We're talking about the end of the Roman Empire here. We're talking
Right.
about the fall of the old Soviet Union here.
Yes.
Except now we're talking about the United States.
Yes. And again, just changing it a little bit, but even our fathers of our country said that this country will not be able to continue without the moral law.
Right.
And I think that's so true. Chaos will come in. And we're actually seeing much of this chaos in a culture right now where, I mean, even like, 20 years ago, I went to go buy a bicycle so I could ride my bike with my 4-year-old grandson. And I went to Walmart. And by golly, all the bikes were locked up. Every single one of them. And they said, well, we people were
I
just
can't have people riding them out.
riding them out. And then, you go to buy a shaver, it's all locked up. Almost everything in a store. So this is the problem we have. You can't continue to operate with a culture that is what I would call out of control. And I'll give you one more element that is tied into this abortion issue, which is sexually transmitted diseases. We have 190 million folks that live in America out of the, 340 that have sexually transmitted diseases. So that tells me that people are breaking the commandments when it comes to the moral code.
You think?
No, do I think? That's the point. And we spend $16 billion a year with medication to keep these people from dying. Now, I have no problem giving people who committed.
Of course, yeah, you want to treat people that are ill, but it would be nice to an ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure, as my grandma used to say.
Yeah, and that's the point I'm trying to convey. We're living in this kind of world that is really spending its money in all the wrong places. I'll give you another line that I think we have $780 trillion. I just found that figure out last week that has been spent on arms for the war with Russia and Ukraine. It was over $500 billion. I don't even know how much that is, Matt, because
nobody knows what that is, Terry. I'm sorry to say this. Think of a million.
Yeah, I can wrap my hands around that.
But you can't really. What does a million peanut butter sandwiches look like?
Oh, I can't picture that.
Yeah, you don't have the first idea, and neither does anybody else. It's actually beyond conception. And what's a trillion? A trillion is 1,000 millions. Okay. What we're talking about, we spent more money on these conflicts than there is money.
Yep. Yep.
Okay? And how do you do that? And you want to know why inflation's going crazy? Well, because they make money that's not worth anything.
Right.
We run out of money, we'll just make some more. Actually, there's a meme going around from an old Saturday Night Live sketch from the 70s.
Yeah.
Where it's Jimmy Carter trying to sell people on how good a thing inflation is. Says, you might say that money's not worth anything, but hey, we just keep printing money.
Right.
And eventually everybody will be a millionaire.
Are you ready for this? I got it in front of me.
Perfect logic.
Just looked it up. The U.S. national debt, $35 trillion.
Right. Yeah. See, that amount of money, not only is it inconceivable, I don't think there is that much money. We owe more money than there is.
Yeah. And so,
I mean, it's absurd.
Yeah. So this is why let's put our trust in Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And not in this world, because the world is going to hell in a handbasket. I mean, think about all the crazy things. And, don't be so, and this is my comment, Matthew, we see the pro-life movement. We're growing. We're making progress. I mean, millions of of babies are going to be able to be born because of the Roe versus Wade being reversed over the years. That's great news. But I want to encourage everyone not to focus on this world too much, because you and I are in our 60s now.
Right.
I'd have gray hair if I had hair, okay? But I don't. You do. You look at, I look at. The point is, Matthew, life is short. Eternity is forever. So I want to encourage everyone right now. I say that because I just went to confession this morning. Go to confession. Get your soul back into the good graces with God. Stay close to Jesus in the Mass, the Eucharistic adoration. Pray your daily rosary. And you know what? The world's going to go where it's going to go. But you know what? The one thing they can't take away from you, your soul. It's eternal. And the key in this is living a God-centered life. So don't put too much attention on this bad news thing that's going on in the world.
Right. That's what Jesus said. Don't store up treasures on this earth that, are only temporary. Store up treasure in heaven.
Right.
And also, just a real quick story. If we've got do we have a minute left?
Hit it. Go ahead.
Okay. I was at confession on Saturday. Normally they have 4 priests. They only had 2. I was 25th in line.
Oh my goodness.
The priest stayed in the confessional for an hour and a half. He came out and said, I'm only going to take 5 more. I was number 6. Stayed in line anyway, thinking, well, maybe I'll get in. And the thing is, during that 90 minutes, I prayed the entire rosary, including the luminous mysteries. I prayed the Chaplet of Divine Mercy. I made the Station to the Cross. And I thought to myself, if I don't get in, the fact of the matter is I would not have done all that if I'd not been here.
Great.